All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army Match Week 30/31. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to start with the Premier League, where we'll give a quick rundown of what happened in the FA Cup quarterfinals this past weekend, plus a double match week preview coming up. We got midweek and weekend action to look forward to. Halftime will be a shithousery related weekly what if. Around the world, the MLS Minute with the Minute Man himself and some talking points there. Peter Vermes might come up at some point. And, of course, stoppage time with Ivan Toney's best bets and everyone's favorite segment, GOAWs. Now, time to welcome in this week's panel of beauties. We will start with the big news. Somebody had some sex. It was not actually Mikey.
Oh, man.
But congratulations. You're close. You're adjacent to the sex. You are a newly minted uncle. Congratulations. How'd you celebrate?
That is the worst framing of that I've ever heard in my entire life. No, my lovely sister, had a child. That it was great. I celebrated by blacking out on Friday and going to see her on Saturday.
Now, are you going to make any lifestyle changes to,
None.
to sort of be? No, not at all. Never.
Well, I'll drive more to Boston. How about that?
Okay, fair enough. Mr. Mitchell Goulet, aka Overtime Mitch, I saw on your stories, now that you've unblocked me, that you posted a framed picture of Tom Brady for sale for $25. Do you like go antiquing in your free time or something?
I do, yeah. That's exactly where I was. I was at a refurbished furniture store yesterday, and just had myself a little day. I didn't initially plan for that kind of Sunday, but I was walking around. I walked by it, and I said, "Oh shit, I've heard of this place." I did not buy that picture of Tom Brady. I thought $25 was a little expensive, but I did buy some other stuff that I'm happy with.
Fair enough. So you and Tyler Terrence are both big into the furniture stuff.
Um, there's a separation between the furniture that I like and the furniture that he likes. He loves a nice like Raymore and Flanagan's open store, bunch of overpriced sectionals, maybe a dresser or two. You like that, Tyler? Oh, you can't hear? Oh, it's tough. I'm talking real dirty right now.
He took his headphones off. He doesn't want to hear about it. Oh, we'll let him in. We'll let him into the episode here. When I'm not actually going to ask you about furniture. I'm going to ask you straight. Let's talk about the game that you worked this weekend, Atlanta, NYCFC. Based strictly on the game itself, sort of take away the importance and the stage, just based on the excitement level and sort of interest, or how interesting the game was. Where does that rank in your, say top 10?
It's got to be up there, right? I mean, 7 goals, 3-1 down. One of the greatest games I ever did, arguably top 3, was similar. It was Saprissa and Olympia in a CONCACAF League semifinal, and Saprissa was down 3 goals on aggregate and needed to score 3 goals in the final 7 minutes of the game in order to advance, and they did. This was not quite the same, but like it was fun. I think what took a lot of out of it for me was like how bad the defensive mistakes were that led to a lot of the goals. Yeah. Like the poor 17-year-old kid who gave it away, and then the miscommunication between Freeze and Thiago Martins, and Martins just losing his goddamn mind on Freeze when I actually thought that he was probably more in the wrong than Freeze was. But I was talking with Marcelo Balboa after the game, who was doing the Spanish side, and he was just like, "Yeah, as a defender, you're just yelling at anybody who's the closest to you, and you're just going to look at somebody to blame."
Of course.
So naturally, that was where Thiago Martins went. But no, fun game, really fun game. Yeah. Top
Fair
20, top 20.
Okay, top 20. We'll call it top 20. And we're always going to take Freeze's side, even though he's GKU. He's part of Sam Fan, which actually sort of comes above and beyond GKU. Now, before we get to the Premier League, a few words from our friends at Kick It, the all-in-one soccer tennis kit that everybody needs right now. Tyler, hit us with it.
Yeah, get the offer while it's still available, and it is going to go away. And I'll tell you what, the weather's starting to get nicer. For those brothers of mine in the Midwest, ignore the tornado that ripped through last night. All right, it was just hellfire storm raining down on a lot of my brothers out here. But the weather is getting warmer. April showers bring May flowers, and May flowers brings Kick It. Kick it the all-inclusive tennis set. Use the code SAM25 to get 10% off. And make sure you don't regret this for the rest of your life, because you're going to be wishing that you had some sort of lawn game to play with the feet instead of, getting sick of cornhole by, May 30th, because we all get sick of cornhole after like the first 3 times. And this game is going to keep you busy. It's going to keep your touch clean. And even if your touch sucks, like Sam, you can still play because the ball is designed to be able to let everybody play, including those of you who have the touch of Darwin Nunez. And that's not a compliment. No. Kickit.net. Get it.
Oh, Sam 25. Had to get that little shot in there. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well done. We will head
shout out
to the Premier League. Fair enough. Where the FA Cup quarterfinals took place, and we are down from 8-4, just like in the NCAA tournament at this point. So the results from the weekend, on Saturday, we had Palace traveling to Fulham, beating them up 3-0. We had Forest visiting Brighton and outlasting them. It was 0-0 in regulation, but they won on penalties. Then on Sunday, Villa traveled to Preston, won 3-0, and City visited Bournemouth and won 2-1 after going down early, but they bounced back. All 4 road teams, by the way, won, which I didn't even realize until I was just looking at it right here. Interesting enough. Anyway, any Mitch, Mikey, Tyler, anybody, anything to say about the quarterfinals? Anything stand out?
Man, it's pretty chalk there. Fulham Palace is the only one that didn't go the way I think everybody would have thought. So Bournemouth, I didn't realize we're going to be without all those guys. I was feeling hopeful in the morning, turned on the game, and they showed us a shot of the crowd, and it was pretty much everyone I love on that squad. So that ruined that day pretty quickly. No, I mean, Fulham, the Magic's kind of, I mean, they're playing Arsenal tomorrow, so I don't want to say fucking anything, but definitely haven't looked the same in a while.
Fair enough. I figured you were going to talk on that game, so that makes a lot of sense.
As they scored a great goal. I think that's awesome. I love him, but there was nothing of significance. Haaland's injury, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I had written down as the biggest thing, the ankle injury for Erling Haaland. At the same time, is it really going to affect anything? Like, does it affect the title race? Does it affect the top 4?
It affects your FPL team.
It will affect my FPL team. I am going to have to make some changes. We're going to get to FPL. FPL is getting quite interesting coming down the stretch here. But yeah, my team is in disarray right now, coming off of, is it the wild card? No, it's the free play. What's the one where you get your whole team back the following week? Whatever that is. That's the one I just
free hit.
Free hit. Because I just used my free hit, and I got a lot of problems ahead of me. We'll get to that later. Yeah, Bournemouth went up early on City, but City just, ground them down. Forest outlasting Brighton. No real surprise there. Shout out to Forest going to Wembley in they've only been up in the Premier League however many years. It's a cool story. I'm sure our friend Peaches is having herself a day or a weekend. I don't know. Anything else? Are we done? Are we done with FA Cup already? Any talk? What about the draw? The draw.
This draw. I mean, this could really kind of define Forest's season. They have a real chance at winning an FA Cup and coming in third in the Premier League. Like, that might be barring what? Do they not have a chance at doing both of those things?
They have a chance. When you say real chance, do you believe in your heart of hearts that they potentially could pull that off? To win an FA Cup, and finish in third.
I was going to say top 5. They only need top 5.
Yeah. You're talking like we're at the beginning of a season and the beginning of an FA Cup. They are in an FA Cup semifinal, and they are currently in third in the Premier League. I don't think it's insane to think that they'll keep that pace in the league.
Guy,
and
I don't know why you're being all sensitive, Mr. Pawn Shop Man. I just simply said I don't know if it's a real chance. I'm not calling you insane. I'm just saying maybe one or the other.
It's
say both.
4-15, and I haven't fought with anybody today, so this is kind of I'm exercising that right now. Apologies.
By the way, you came off scot-free. Nobody gave you a Pokemon. All right, so it's Scyther against question mark right now.
You guys are more than welcome to. Somebody in the Discord compared me to Dratini, which is the middle evolution of Dragonair. I'm sorry, Dragonair and Dragonite.
Get it right, moron.
Yeah, oh, shut up.
Idiot.
You guys are more than welcome to look at 151 original Pokemon and give me a comparison.
I'm gonna confer with Wartortle and I'll get back to you. Psyduck
Okay, cool.
Psyduck has no say.
I like that. Yeah.
I have no idea what the fuck you guys are talking about right now, to be perfectly honest with you.
No shit.
Can't we just stick with furniture metaphors? That's
fact,
much better.
The fact that Mikey is bullying and shaming Sam for not knowing anything to do with Pokemon. Like, Mikey's genuinely upset. He's like, yeah, no shit, you don't. You fucking.
There's a couple people in Discord that really resonates with, by the way.
I think you're severely underestimating how many adults are at the very least interested in Pokemon. I realize you picture it as kind of this nerdy subculture, but it's more pervasive than you think.
Way more pervasive than the iKardashians. Let's put it that way.
Oh my god.
I listen, but I don't judge. And fair point on the iKardashians. I'll give you that. Fair enough. We all have our little niches and our little avenues.
The iKardashians plot line started in the 90s.
As did Pokemon, to be fair.
I think it's more impressive that you've been able to kind of like will that plot line forward with your coverage of it, Sam. I want to give you a modicum of credit
That's kind
there.
of what I'm saying.
I think you are the most dedicated media outlet to the iKardashians, and I'm sure they've noticed, and I'm sure they kind of like the coverage, so they feed into it with their constant escapades and back together, separated again. I think you are a really important cog in that machine.
There are people who would definitely hate me for some of the things that I said about them. They are not. Yes. I mean, there's actual real life substantiation of that statement, but the iKardashians, they probably love it, especially Wanda. She is cut right from the cloth of any publicity is good publicity, and she's okay with it.
I think their next step is MLS. It has to be, right? And then they get thrown into like the reality TV circuit of it all, and then we get like a true kind of pop culture wag in the MLS. I think that'd be fun.
I love that you're saying that. I love that you're saying.
Yeah, if Emil Forsberg is coming here with no family, there's no way that Mauro Icardi is coming here with her. Like, he's gonna, even if he ends up in Columbus or whatever, like, he's still gonna come solo.
Well, we can dream, and I like that Mitch outed himself as Team Love there, referred to them as them
as a couple.
Shout out there. All right, we'll see where it goes from here. Quickly, before we get to the double weekend or double weekly preview, double dose, FPL, as teased before, my team is decimated at the moment. I got some serious work to do on the transfer circuit with Erling Haaland down. Now, as far as the other teams go, quick shout out to the top five right now. Patrick Kelly, Magnets, is first. Fraser Connor, Major League Soccer, second. Rob Carey, Cunnerlingus, 3. Kyle Murphy, Cavs, 4, and Christopher Frost, No Hair No Mo, is in 5th. Now to the Sam's Army Council of Elders team, McGunners is still in 1st. Mikey Fowler, actually no, that's so. Tommy has now jumped into 1st, and Mikey is right behind him, 18 points back. I'm in 2nd comfortably, and then there's a little bit of a gap to FCTT and I don't know how to say it because it should be I suck at FPL, but Isaac,
FPL, whatever you want to. Yeah,
there you go. So you guys are 4th and 5th, 3 points now separate you after your 72 point last week for match week there, Mitch. So you are right back in the thick of things for getting out of the cellar, which means avoiding a TikTok dance. Tyler, you feeling the pressure? I feel like
squeaky bum time, to say the least. My asshole is tight over here for a number of different reasons, but we'll get to that in MLS Hit and Quit in a minute. No, this was a matter of self-destruction on my end. I am the architect because I, like Mitch, for not 1 week but 2 weeks in a row, left people not only who were hurt, but then I changed up my squad and didn't realize that some of those guys weren't playing in the previous match day, whenever that was, like 3 months ago. So no, I have nobody to blame but myself. Unlike some managers in the Premier League, shout out Ange Postecoglou and Ruben Amorim, I'm able to look myself in the mirror and stand up in front of the media and say, this is my fault.
That's big of you. Very big of you.
Yeah.
I also, for my 72-point week, I played my assistant manager chip. I don't know if I should be telling you all that.
I played mine. No,
strategically.
I played mine too. I played Ange. I
Oh,
played
did you?
Ange and,
Oh.
Ange and Spurs. Yeah. No,
I've
it's gonna be
I've
tight.
had Ange, and
I
I didn't
played
realize
Nuno.
it locks up all your
Yeah, lots
chips.
of your other chips. So
Yes.
be warned.
Yep.
The next 3
I didn't know
weeks.
that either when it was going down, and I needed to make some changes desperately.
Well, you got 3. Well, it's going to be 2 weeks, and they'll go fast, and then one more.
No, I think I'm in the clear now. Not that it matters, but anyway.
Okay. All right.
This also feels like a good time to rattle off the top members of the bracket pool that we have, since we're talking about fantasy games right now. No?
No, that's fair enough. NCAA pool. Yeah, let's show some love to the top of the table, where I tell you who's not anywhere near that. This guy. I've been like basically at the bottom of the table this entire time. Mikey just acting over there. I saw your reaction, Mikey. Like that's a surprise. Or no surprise, excuse me. So I'm now in 69th, which actually I'm moving up the table. That's a good thing. Thank God for Auburn, who they're still in it, and I got them winning. So I'm gonna go from like last up to like the top quarter, probably no higher if they actually win. Now at the top of the table we have Adam. His picks, Adam 2115. You are in first. His champion is Duke, so still alive. Wait, do you have a Condon? Is actually tied for first with Adam. Shout out to Wait. Do you have a Condon? I'm looking for like an email or a name. I don't see it, so I just
That's enough.
We're just gonna go with Wait. Do you have a Condon? Matt Wolf is in third. N Leo 29 is in fourth, and then we got Dalton. Dalton is in fifth, actually tied for fifth with Matt. Now, Dalton and Adam have Duke. Wait, do you have a Condon? N Leo and Matt have Florida winning it. And then
Matt Wolf is consistently pretty high up on the Sam's Army FPL race too, isn't he? Is he just like is he just a fantasy genius? I mean, good for that guy.
I gotta DM, get in his DMs and
Yeah.
get some thoughts. He actually has Matt Wolf has Houston winning it, so don't mix up Matt Wolf with Matt. There's two different Matts.
No, I'm talking about Matt Wolf. I feel like Matt.
Right.
You've mentioned
Right,
Matt
right,
Wolf's name plenty of times before.
Yep. Listen, Matt Wolf, give me some tips. Give me some tips. Look at my FPL team. Give me some tips. So shout out to them. I could give some shout outs to the bottom team, but we're not going to do that because we're not mean like that.
No, you're doing a great job moving the show along. This is like the fastest we've ever
We're
done.
kicking. We're cooking.
Yeah.
Mikey's got a heart out, so we're moving here. We're on to the Premier League, where I said we got a double dose of match week action coming up over the next 7 days, starting tomorrow. And so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is a slate. And then, of course, the normal weekend slate. So some of the games, not all of them, this isn't an exhaustive list, but some of the games that stood out to me during the midweek, we got Arsenal hosting Fulham, Forest hosting United, Brighton hosting Villa, and then a Merseyside derby on Wednesday, Chelsea, and then Chelsea-Tottenham, another London derby on Thursday. And then the weekend, we got Aston Villa hosting Forest in I would call that a pretty big one, maybe the biggest. Fulham hosting Liverpool, and a Manchester derby on Sunday. Again, not exhaustive. You guys are welcome to pick off of that list or from that list or not on that list. Tyler, what game or games are you most intrigued by, or if you'd rather, who's got the biggest week coming up?
I think that the Arsenal Fulham game is going to be fantastic. I think that Forest. I think that Forest season could very well be defined in the next two games. Like if they come out with no points or if they come out with 1 point, I think that they're in serious trouble.
Tyler, can I ask you a question?
What's up, pal?
The vibes around Trent. You have, if 0% is like a very direct number, but what percent worried are you that this could all crumble down and you may not win the Premier League title this season?
0%.
Is it not zero? It's zero?
It's
okay.
0. What are you trying to do right now?
I had to ask.
Did you?
It has been a narrative, not necessarily a narrative we've talked about.
Who's pushing that narrative? Who?
The media.
What are you, an
The
owl?
media. I am the fucking media. Nobody's
The
pushing that.
team below you in the table. What do you mean?
I mean, first of all, Sam's talking about how like Erling Haaland going out is going to affect number one the title race. Okay, so he doesn't count.
No,
you
I said
that.
it wasn't.
You said
I said
that.
it wasn't.
All right,
I said it wasn't.
Mikey, I know what you know what, I'm just going to stop talking because Mikey accomplished his goal of riling me up, and there's just no need for it because I'm the least amount of worried. I could not be not bothered by any of this. None of it.
Not even a little bit.
Not even
a little bit.
No,
and you did say.
First of all, why does the Trent thing have anything to do with? Look at that fucking shit-eating grin on his face. Why does the Trent thing have anything to do with what we're going to finish up with this season? Why
I'm just curious. Awkward dap ups, chitter chatter in the locker room. Things maybe don't feel the same.
Oh,
If now, Tyler, what you should be doing is you should be going on the attack and assuming this is Mikey trying to, basically he's being defensive and he knows that he has no chance of actually catching.
A lion does not concern himself with shit.
I'm being defensive. Things are looking up for us.
He wasn't
back.
to be fair, I have to be on the attack for him to be defensive. I simply was talking about the games that I was excited about this week, and Mikey just decided to ask some sort of bullshit question to rile me up. Congratulations, my heart rate is up. You did it.
Great success. Mikey's very good at that, I will say. I think it's a fair question, if only because there's been a lot of people talking, speculating.
Cite your sources.
No. This is just on Trent. This is just on the Trent situation. How do you feel about how the Trent situation is going down and him leaving before the Club World Cup and all this?
It's fine. This
You're
is
good.
not.
This
This is
cool.
not new. This is a year in the making that he wanted to go to Real Madrid. Why are we holding him to the? He's been in the club for 20 years. Been in the club since he's 6 years old. If he wants to go fuck about at Madrid and hate it after 2 years and come back, by all means, go ahead. I don't care. This was we're going to be able to keep Trent, Verge, and Mo Salah. Like, why is everybody freaking out about it? And I called out Jamie Carragher saying when he was like, "Oh, Mo Salah, like we're talking to the media after the game, he's distracting the club," and then Liverpool rattled off like 10 wins in a row after that in Champions League and in Premier League, and basically won the title after Jamie Carragher called everybody out for that. It's not distracting anybody. You see Mohamed Salah in the gym getting right after the international break. Like, this team is not going to just crumble because of an international break, some talks about a player going to Real Madrid, which is the only club that you're going to leave Liverpool for. Like, why? This is not a big deal. No, everybody's making this. This is not a big deal at all. It's the least amount of deals. I could not give a shit. Like, please, talk about something else. You're pissing me off, and not in a good way. You're really making me upset. This is not a thing.
Oh my God. Okay, we'll move on.
Can I get you back on track? I actually have a game I'm excited for in a genuine way.
I didn't even get to
and it
finish
does
up the
affect
games that
Liverpool as
we
well.
talked about.
Go for it, Mikey.
Everybody in the Arsenal and Liverpool camp should be watching Newcastle's results for the last 10 match weeks here. If they get in the Champions League, Isak's going to stay. If he doesn't, he's up for grabs, is how pretty much everybody's been talking about it. And they're playing Brentford, which is not a walkabout. They're coming off a celebration, so that's usually like a get-right moment for someone playing him. So I'm going to be watching that one.
Fair enough. Good shout. Mitchell?
I like that shout, Mike. I hadn't even considered that angle. I kind of assumed Isak was like leaving at the end of the season, regardless of what happened. But if he does make Champions League, like I can definitely see him staying. Forest United. I'm excited for that one. I think Forest are going to close out a very impressive season. We've been fans of them as a podcast for all season. Tyler is off that bandwagon now, clearly. But I literally do think that like Forest is going to close out this season, finish in third, and then have a very real chance at an FA Cup. Yes. And we're going to talk about them as like one of the greater underdogs compared to like what they have on paper roster-wise and expectations at the beginning of the season. So I think they'll take care of United and then march on and finish third.
Alonga revenge game.
Now, we'll go back to you, Tyler, now that you settled down a little bit. You got a Merseyside derby on Wednesday. We got Adam F in the chat, who is an Everpool fan, saying that there's no chance Liverpool are bottling this.
Everpool fan.
Cool.
You
I
combined
like
the two. I love
Did I
that.
say Everpool?
You did.
Yeah.
Easy side deck.
God. I'll have worse this episode, but yeah, that's not great. Any thoughts on the week ahead for your boys?
Yeah, I'd like to beat them by about 17. If we're being completely honest, after what happened last time with Tarkovsky scoring what arguably is considered the biggest goal in Everton history in the last 30 years, and it was a draw at home. So yeah, I'd like to beat them. Yeah, I'd like to beat them in a significant fashion.
You guys have a tough week. I mean, if we're assuming that a rivalry game is tough, no matter who you play.
We're a one competition team now. We just get to focus on Premier League.
It's true. It's true. Spinzo, that I mean, you haven't been on since the no good, very bad week that was with the cup competitions.
You know something? I didn't go on Sirius. I didn't come on here, and it wasn't to be fair, it wasn't by design. It was not by design.
No,
I had US Open Cup. I had CONCACAF Champions Cup. A very busy boy. But what do you want me to react and be pissed off 3.5 weeks later?
Yeah, show us what you looked like for 5 seconds.
I'm not into theatrics, guys. You know that.
It's not performative.
I will say that the last 10 to 14 days, and even talking to you guys about the fact that I don't think Liverpool are going to bottle it. They're not going to. The season almost feels like a failure again. It feels like 2022 again. And my feelings during at the end of that penalty kick shootout, number one, our penalties were horrendous, and I think that whatever happened to hitting it with pace to a corner, why is that gone out of style? And Darwin stutter stepping and Curtis, hitting it with his purse. I just enough of that bullshit. Enough of it. Hit it to a corner. If the keeper guesses right, you're probably still going to convert anyway. I'm just so fucking sick of that. But we got drawn up with the 24th best team in Champions League, who happened to be a top 3 team in Europe. And that's what this new format brings to the table. It was dog shit, the draw. We can't. What are we supposed to do about the fact that they were one of the worst teams through 8 games, but then they hit form and they're a top 3 team in Europe? And we didn't deserve to win that tie. We got slaughter nuked in Paris, and then it was a 50-50 game in Anfield. And if that's the case, then we don't deserve to win. Hats off to them, because I'm always banging on the drum that Anfield is the best atmosphere and the best home field advantage in Europe, and that includes the Bernabeu, and we didn't take advantage of it. And yeah, people are yeah, you see what happens when Mo doesn't score? They only go as Liverpool. He only goes as Liverpool goes. Yeah, no shit. That's the whole fucking point. Everybody's been talking about that, and that's an issue. I agree. But yeah, I don't disappointing. But we spent too much time at the top of the Premier League and the Champions League table for us to not have this feeling now, if you get bounced in the round of 16, to feel like it's a failure. Anything other than a semifinal was going to be a failure for me. So it's expectations are the thief of joy. But if somebody had told me at the start of the season that your new manager in Arne Slot and an aging Mohamed Salah and an aging Virgil and a Trent who's got one foot out the door and some injuries along the way, that you were still going to find your way to win the Premier League, finish number 1 in Champions League, get knocked out of the round of 16, and flail about against Plymouth Argyle, I would have said, sign me up, hands down. But the way that it's unraveled, now I'm we're an average club. That's how I feel.
An average, soon-to-be title-winning club.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Listen, that was the reaction we got, and you gave it to us. So thank you. Any other thought? I mean, Tottenham this week is interesting. We're coming up against a Chelsea team on Thursday that is actually playing quite well. They're missing some players. I don't know if Cole Palmer is going to be available for this one. It sounded like he's kind of hit and miss. That game is always fun. Chelsea Tottenham is just always a lot of fun. I don't know. Anytime Tottenham plays at this point, I'm just sort of half excited, half concerned about what's going to happen, and just praying that we don't lose players. But I guess we'll see what happens. And then we have basically a 6-pointer at the bottom of the table against Southampton on Sunday, which, if we come out of this week with less than 4 points, it's unfortunate and it's definitely a disappointment. But at the same time, I don't think it matters. At this point. We're a Europa-focused club. We have to win Europa League. That's That's where we're at right now. And if you had told me at the beginning of the season that that's what we were looking at, yeah, I'd be in the same boat you're
I'm
in.
really I was taken aback when you said we have a 6-pointer with Southampton at the bottom of the table.
It's meant to be kind of tongue in cheek, although I mean, we're 14th place right now. You know, I mean,
yeah, but you're 25 points clear of.
Oh, I know. It was totally meant tongue in cheek, but listen, it's been a tough season, and we have to at least admit that and acknowledge that we're not in the race for. Let's see. So we are on 34 points. So we're 13 back of Brighton and Newcastle, who are in 7th and 6th place. So for Europa. I mean,
listen, if the
points.
second best team in the league is not making up a 12-point gap for the rest of this season, are you making up a 13-point gap?
It would be tough. I would give us a better chance than I would give Arsenal catching you guys, because I think that Liverpool is a very good team and they've only got one competition to focus on. And we allegedly are getting healthy and will be a different team than we have been for several months prior. So I would just give us a better chance. But if you ask me, are we? No, I don't think so. I don't think we probably are.
Allegedly, we are getting healthy on a quote graphic with your face.
I mean,
and we're a Europa-focused club underneath that as well.
I love that quote.
It's a sad day. It's another sad day to be
one day, just the one day. It hasn't been a sad season. It's just the one day.
It's been pretty sad. It's been pretty much just sadness this whole time, with little blips of happiness. But those blips have gone away quickly.
Would you take Oliver Glasner as your coach tomorrow?
No, Ange in. I'm focused on Ange.
Sam, that's the thing about Sam. I went back when we hired Poch. I tried to find old tweets of him saying Poch out. And then I tried all the other managers. He just never tweets about He supports everyone keeping their jobs.
Would you take Pep tomorrow?
Nope, Ange in.
Come on.
Stop.
Pep is tired. Pep is tired. He is done after the season.
What is Ange if Pep is tired?
He's still got that chip on his shoulder because he's got everybody and their sister coming after him for his inability to be flexible. He wants to win. He needs to win. Whereas Pep,
what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Every Premier League manager wants to win.
No, everybody wants to win. Ange needs to win. That's the difference.
Pep lost 3 matches in a row and looked like he got in a fight with a cat.
Yeah, it's from the scratching himself. That's fair, but that just to me, he's just tired. He needs his sabbatical. I think it's time for Pep to take that sabbatical at the end of the season. I think it's coming.
Ryan in the chat brings up a fun point that there's still a chance that Southampton might finish as the worst team in Premier League history. They're on 9 points right now. The worst point total in Premier League history is Derby County with 11 points in the 07-08 season.
Big time 6-pointer for Southampton against Spurs.
Big time 6-pointer.
Listen, if anybody can get you right as rain, it's Dr. Spurs. So give us a little chance.
By the way, is that Ryan Childers, the brother of Tyler Childers, famous country star? Potentially? Question mark?
I guess we'll find out in the chat soon. Big. So when I asked like the big weeks, there's some big weeks here. Like Aston Villa has a big week. They play Brighton on Wednesday and Forest on Saturday. I would say if there's a team that has the biggest week, it might be Villa. They've sort of fallen down a little bit. They're now 9th in the table, but one win and they could be on 48 points, which would be even with Manchester City in 5th. So obviously there's a big logjam there. This is a really big week for Villa. They come off it with, some momentum, having just won in the FA Cup and moved along to the semifinals, and they're still alive in Champions League. They have a lot. They got a lot going on, Aston Villa. Wow, I hadn't even thought about that. So I would say if we're going to say a week, who's got the biggest week? It's either Nottingham Forest, who Mitch already sort of discussed, or Aston Villa. I would say Aston Villa, although they play each other on Saturday, so that should be an interesting one. But let's see. Ryan said, I'm from West Virginia, so there's a chance he's my cousin. Oh, well played, Ryan. Well played. Anything else from this week in the Premier League? Manchester Derby, is anybody excited? Is this just sort of
dead?
It's dead. It's a dead Derby right now. It does kind of feel that way. It does. All right, we will head to halftime, where we got to start with a quick message from the world leaders in 3D engraving. Arc Designs, Tyler, tell us a little bit about them.
So our partners at Arc Designs have re-upped again because you all out in Sam's Army Land are just the absolute best, and they love what they're seeing in terms of orders, in terms of traffic on their website. But keep this momentum up, all right? They're not going to stay around forever. As much as we love you and as much as we love them, all good things must come to an end. Sort of like Liverpool being the best team in Europe. That came to an end. The Arc Designs discount is going to come to an end as well. Sam25 is the discount that you can use to get 10% off of your order. Again, a coaster, a table, if you want like a calendar so that you can remain organized, which is something that I desperately need in my life. And yes, I understand my phone has one, but I need one like actually in person so that I can walk past it every day and still ignore it and still be disorganized. But
you're my generation.
Yeah,
it's official.
3D laser engraved coasters and tables with your favorite club, favorite team, any sport, whatever you want. They do customized. Anything and everything. So just make sure you use that feature on the websites, arcdesigns.com. Sam25 is the code. Get 10% off. Thank you to Arc Designs, and thank you to all of you.
Shout out Arc Designs. And spelled ARCK, by the way, Arc Designs. Weekly What If time. Neal Maupay, everybody's favorite Mitchell Goulet doppelganger. Let's say he just were to phone you up. And quick shout out to Diamond Hands Drew, by the way, from the Discord chat, who sort of was the genesis of this weekly What If. If you're not on the Discord, by the way, get in the Discord by getting on Sam's Army Patreon. $3.99 a month. It will be the cheapest $3.99 you'll ever spend in your life. That makes no sense, but don't worry about it. Just get on Sam's Army Patreon to get the Discord. Also, you get Tommy Talking Tactics and bonus episodes. So get on the Sam's Army Patreon. Anyway, so Neal Maupay calls you up and says he's looking to move on from Marseille. He obviously can't go back to Everton. He's persona non grata there. But he wants to move to the best shithousing league in the world. Tyler, where are you pointing him?
I feel like there's so much in the world of football. My initial instinct, just because I've seen a lot of it, and I know how crazy it can be, Liga MX. I've also, unfortunately, seen some of the inner workings of like the Honduran league before, which can also be pretty fucking wild. But anywhere where there are like constantly lasers buzzing about and there's shit being thrown on the field, any of those will do. And I feel like there's a lot of that all over the world, and really in any continent that you might hit.
Fair. Now you are doing a lot of waffling here. You're not going to give us one? Not going to say one?
Honduras.
Okay, fair enough. Neal's brother from another mother, Mitchell Goulet. What league would you be sending your buddy to?
I'm advising him as his kind of like lookalike / personal advisor here.
Yep.
Send him to Turkey.
Yeah, that was going to be my choice.
I feel like he could start a civil war there, and I mean that in the nicest way possible.
A sectarian, just absolute death battle. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, maybe have him go play for Jose. Like, Turkey is where he belongs. He already has a good hairline, so he doesn't need that, but he could have some fun there.
Of course, you had to give a shout out to his hairline. You got a nice one too. Turkey was going to be my first choice. It just seems so crazy over there. Like I have to get to a proper Turkish game sometime soon. But at the same time, it's because it's so fun and so crazy. It has that edge to it. It has that edge, and I do think that maybe he might be a little too much. That might be too much for Neal Maupay. Mikey, who are you going? Where are you going?
While Mitch was saying that, I was looking up players who've played for Fenerbahce and Galatasaray to see if he should he should play for one and then switch to the rival and play the next season and try to taunt. No, did you see the video of Depay standing on the ball at the quarter flag for Corinthians over the week?
Love that.
Yeah.
Tell me you couldn't just swap Maupay in the Brazil league and have him be doing the exact same thing.
He wouldn't have
to do that though. Like you need Depay can do it because he's skilly. Maupay less so. I feel like he's more of a verbal shit talker, shithouser than like Depay, who was doing that. He like megged the guy, went out for a goal kick, but it was still cool because he megged him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Such a Memphis move.
But yeah,
when did this standing on the ball thing automatically mean everybody wants to beat your ass? Is that it? Just did that just happen in like the last
No, it's a
month
pretty
or so?
common thing.
That's
Guys
been a
used to
thing,
put it on
yeah.
their forehead and run. Like that used to be the seal dribble. Used to end up with guys getting murdered. That was an old YouTube rabbit hole of mine.
Yep.
So it's just a new version of that. Okay, fair enough.
Mhm.
I've seen like 3 different episodes where guys have stood on the ball in the last couple weeks.
Yeah,
And
two
then,
this
of course,
week. Yeah.
and then of course the whole opposition team wants to beat his ass. Okay, I think Turkey might win it. I agree with Tyler. Some of the leagues like League MX, I don't know as much about Honduras. I'm sure it's probably nuts. I was trying to think if there are any other leagues. I don't know nearly enough about the African leagues to really say anything. I know the South African League is a wild one, and there's a lot of people standing on balls and doing crazy stuff down there.
Mhm.
But my vote's Turkey as well. Shout out Diamond Hands Drew for the question. All right, we'll move on. Since we did the MCA bracket update, we don't got to do that. We will head to Round the World, where the Minute Man is going to give us the hit it and quit it update for MLS this week. Hit us with it, Tyler.
I'm having Google is not being my friend right now as far as
I watched a
Or-
ton of MLS Saturday, so I'm excited for this one.
you did.
I did. I spent the entire
Why?
day watching soccer. My girl was out of town. I had nothing to do. I just watched soccer all day long.
Good for you.
That's
Wow,
a
that-
great Saturday. I
that
saw
warmed-
you
that
were
warms my heart.
going ham in the Discord this weekend, Mike.
I had a
In
lot
the
of
MLS
opinions.
Discord,
Mhm.
which is an unusual place for you. So shout out you.
Not unusual place for you. All right, here we go. All right, match day number 6 in Major League Soccer. We're going to start in Foxborough, Massachusetts, where Mazel Tov to Caleb Porter and the New England Revolution for getting their first win of the season, 2-1 over Red Bulls. Not a great look for the Red Bulls. All right, let's head to a little Canada Classic between Toronto FC and Vancouver. Of course, we know Jesper Sorensson is dealing with a little bit of CONCACAF Champions Cup on top of Major League Soccer. Toronto, Vancouver, 0-0 draw, snooze fest. Let's move on. Let's head to the Mile High City, and by that I mean Commerce City. 2-0 to the Colorado Rapids. Georgia Mihailovic with 2 goals in a matter of minutes, and he puts a nail in Dean Smith and the Charlotte FC coffin. Big win for the Rapids, but they just know how to play at altitude, and that's a thing. All right, let's head to the Benz, one of the World Cup venues here in the United States, and what a game it was between Ronnie Dyla and his former side in New York City. No, that's not NYCFC. We're not allowed to say that anymore. We got an email about it during the offseason. We must refer to them as New York City. That's not the here nor there. What is there is the over. 7 goals split right down the middle, and by that, I mean Atlanta win it by a score of 4-3. 17-year-old Dominic Chung-Kui did not even think he was going to be featuring in this game. Pedro Amadora from Atlanta gets a quad injury during warmups. We find out 30 seconds before kickoff the 17-year-old is making his first ever start in Major League Soccer. He comes on and does well, I thought, for the first 40, 45 minutes, and then makes a disastrous mistake that led to a third New York City goal. He gets yanked off. Atlanta come back down from a score of 3-1. Win it by a score of 4-3. Emmanuel Latte-Lot has 5 goals through the first 6 games. Listen, if you're a DP and coming in for a league record transfer fee, you're worth every penny at this point if you got 5 goals already. Congratulations to Ronnie Dylan for a big proof of concept win for ATL UTD. All right, let's head to our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. United. That's not their actual name, but I just said the whole thing. Columbus Crew win it by a score of 2-1. Now over to Inter Miami and Philadelphia Union. A lot of people probably wouldn't have thought anything of this game coming early on because Philly have been a group that has gotten ravaged by the lack of resources and the whole thing. A new coach, Bradley Carnell, comes in, but secretly they're one of the best teams in MLS. Great game between Miami and Philadelphia. Lionel Messi comes on after, of course, suffering from an injury for the past few weeks, and he comes on 55th minute, scores in 57th. I don't know. He's inevitable. He's the GOAT. 2-1 is the final score. Miami win it. Let's head to the Windy City, Soldier Field. Chicago Fire coming off a big win against Vancouver. 3 straight road wins. You think they have to beat a Montreal team who just got rid of their coach and have been destitute. No, Fire gonna fire. Greg still got some work to do. 1-1 is the final score at home. FC Dallas, Lucho Acosta and company taking on Peter Vermes and Sporting Kansas City. Lucho scores a goal. Dallas get the win, right? Just another Sporting Kansas City loss? No, it is the end of an era. Peter Vermes is officially out as the Sporting Kansas City head coach. He's officially out as the sporting director. He's officially out as the academy director and every single other role that he held over that club for the past 17 and a half years. Just 2 weeks ago, he participated in his 700th match as a player or a coach for the club, and they say goodbye to him 2 weeks later. Some thought that it might not ever happen, but it does, and the ownership group has had enough. They invested in the club. He still wasn't getting results. They lose this game. He's fired. What's next for the club? Who knows? Kerry Zavagnin, longtime assistant, is going to be the interim coach for the time being. Let's head over to my home away from home, Minnesota United at Allianz Field. Minnesota win it by a score of 2-0. Tani Oluwaseyi was on the score sheet in that one against RSL, who are now up for sale, along with Vancouver and probably should be CF Montreal. Let's head over to Music City, where my hometown club, FC Cincinnati, taking on Nashville SC, and Kevin Denke with a late penalty and a really dodgy call on a bad handball situation on Walker Zimmerman. I feel for the former U.S. international. Cincinnati win it. Big win for Pat Noonan and company. They've been struggling as of late. 2-1 is the final score. Let's go to the City of Angels, where in Carson, California, LA Galaxy fall to Oscar Pareja and Orlando City. The Lions traveled from Orlando to LA, somehow got the 3 points, and Orlando City right now looking somewhat decent in the opening stages of Major League Soccer. And how about this little budding rivalry game between San Diego FC and LAFC? Great game. Mikey was popping off in the Discord. I had to imagine he had some sort of bet on the game, including the over, or at least I hope the over, and he certainly hit on it. 3-2 is the final score. San Diego win it in the first ever Southern California Classico. I don't know. All I do know is that somebody got knocked the F out after the game, as we saw on social media. We do not encourage any violence of any sort, regardless of whether it's a Liverpool Merseyside derby or San Diego and LAFC or a Hudson River derby. Stop beating each other up. Jesus Christ almighty, figure it out. We're all humans. San Jose Earthquakes won. Seattle Sounders won. Bit of a snooze face between the Fighting Bruce Arenas and the Fighting Brian Schmetzers, although they do sign Ryan Kent to get some reinforcements because they've been ravaged by injury. All right, let's head over to Sam Fam's hometown in St. Louis, and St. Louis City lose by a score of 1-0, and I know that's not actually Sam's actual hometown, but he spends enough time there. Jesus Christ. Austin win it by a score of 1-0. Nico Estevez get another win. Portland Timbers 3, Houston Dynamo 1 in a Sunday night soccer game that they probably thought was going to be a good game at the beginning of the season, and that's what we like to call in the biz an opportunity to flex. Yes, we'd like to flex that game and put a different team there, but we don't do that in this league. Portland win it by a score of 3-1. Anthony was at the brace. Big win for Phil Neville and company. I believe that's 2 in a row for them after a slow start to the season, and that would do it for match day number 6.
Well done, as always. The Peter Vermes news, which came out this morning, was it was shocking, and yet at the same time, everybody's been, not everybody, but a lot of people have been calling for this for years. It's been, I would say, the last, 3 or 4 years, just the results have not been going his way. Last 2 years, I'm shocked he made it this long. But at the same time, a guy who's been in the job since 2009, and actually he was sporting director before then. He has been that club. He's been the face of that club for
institution.
Forever. It's crazy, but I'm gonna leave it there because I'll save some for GOAWs. Quickly get your thoughts here, Tyler and Mikey, since he's clearly loving MLS these days. The Western Conference right now, the table. I just looked at the table, and let me pull it up real quick here. So the Western Conference right now, first place, Vancouver Whitecaps on 13 points. Yeah. Second place, Austin FC. Third place, San Diego. Fourth, your beloved Loons of Minnesota. Fifth place, and by the way, Colorado. So third through fifth, they're all tied on 11. Austin 12, Vancouver 13. I don't think that's the top 5 that anybody was expecting anytime during the season. Any thoughts on who the biggest pretender of that group is? Or if you want to flip it and say biggest contender, go for it.
Of the top 5?
Yes, just that top 5.
I think Colorado and San Diego are the biggest pretender. Actually, I say that about San Diego, but they play some good football, man. Like, I've been impressed with them, and I was not sure what Mikey Varis was going to bring to the table as a head coach, but like, he's a guy I would play for. Colorado is not a good soccer team. I can confidently say that, and that's not any fault of their own. They just don't have any depth, and that's been an issue of theirs for a couple of years now. And they don't get the investment that Arsenal gets. If you're catching my drift on there. So no, I think that those two are the biggest pretenders. Vancouver, as much as I would like to say they're a pretender, like I think Jesper Sorensen is working some magic over there, and they're taking on Pumas in CONCACAF Champions Cup, and who knows, they might come away with another win, and like they could be one of those groups that just strings together a really, really good season. They've got some really good young, like undiscovered talent, like kids like JC Ngando and Eddie Ocampo and and like very, very good under the radar college soccer players and good Canadians who just a lot of teams have either passed on or have never heard of, and they can ball. Like they've got some ballers.
That sounds like the ultimate MLS story right there.
Yeah.
What do you think about Austin FC? So they're on 12 points.
I think they stink.
Four wins from 6 games. They've scored 5 goals in 6 games and only given up 3. and yet they're in second place.
This is sort of a Nico Esteves special. He had one of the best expected goals against average, or expected goal differential average, in MLS for like 2 years with Dallas. On the flip side, he played some of the most boring soccer known to mankind. Despite the fact that the ownership group has poured in millions of dollars to get Uzuni and Brandon Vasquez, no less than $22 million between the two, they still can't really figure it out. I don't think that they knew what they wanted from a tactical form, like from a formation standpoint, and what system they were going to play. Because if you're going to go ahead and play a two-striker system, where does Osman Bukhari fit into that? Because he ain't a winger in a 4-4-2, and you can't play a diamond and have him in a 10. I think he's like better fitted for a 4-3-3 coming off the left-hand side, but they're not going to play that way. When you go bench one of your $10+ million transfers in either Uzuni or Brandon Vasquez, I'm with Mikey. I think that they stink from an attacking standpoint, but they might just be the best defending side that MLS has ever seen. So I don't know. I can't call them a pretender yet because I think that they have all the tools to be a good team, but they have to figure out what system they're going to play.
Fair enough. I mean, they've only given up 3 goals on the season, which I will say, St. Louis have only given up 2. Quick shout out there.
Both teams played putrid soccer.
We'll move on to stoppage time, where we got to start. Ivan Toney's best bets, where the overtrain is, I wouldn't say cooking with gas, but we're chugging along. We came off of a international break week, which those are always tough to find games you like. But we came away with a 3-2 win. We'll call it an overall victory on the week. So here we go. No asterisks for international break. I love all these games. We're going to start on Wednesday. Overtrain, 5-a-side, 1 over per day, Wednesday through Sunday. Now, you might think I'm going to start with Barca and Atleti, the Copa del Rey matchup, where they went 4-4 in the first matchup, in the first leg. Nope, not going there. Everybody thinks you're going to zig. You got to zag. So we're going to the Chinese Super League, where Shanghai Port is hosting Miju Haka. There's goals there.
Bless you.
You're smart. That's right. Thank you, Mikey.
There.
Thursday, MTK Budapest hosting Ferencváros in the Hungarian FA Cup. That's right. Going Hungary. Friday, Liga MX, Tijuana and Necaxa. Saturday, my beloved A-League, Adelaide United is hosting Sydney FC. And by the way, this past week in the A-League was just orgasmic. We had like 4 games with over 7 goals. It was amazing. I will be thinking about that weekend for a long time, let me tell you. Oh, I put that one right in the spank bank. Sunday, we are going Bournemouth hosting. Oh, wait, no, wrong. That was last week. Sunday, we're going Magdeburg and Kaiserslautern on, well, that's Bundesliga 2, which, along with the Swiss Challenger League and Australian A-League, men and women, they're just my beloved leagues at the moment. So there we go. Overtrain. Let's go get rich. Let's see. Mitch, what do you got for us this week?
I'm also going overs this week,
Oh,
but
yes.
not over goal. Nope, not over on goals, over on cards. For these 3 games, these are all happening on Wednesday. I like over 4.5 cards in AC Milan and Inter Milan in the Coppa Italia. I like over 4.5 cards in the Merseyside derby in the Premier League. And I like over 4.5 cards in Atletico Barcelona, which you alluded to earlier. You put all those together, you're a plus 475. Over 4.5 on all of them.
Okay. You found some derbies, and there tends to be cards there. I like that. Mikey, what do you got for us?
Yeah, we bought ourselves like a groundhog seeing its shadow, and CISO chucks, and he needs to score one every so often to keep him chucking. And he had an absolute banger in World Cup qualifying for Paraguay over the break, and his 2 shots on target total for Wednesday is plus 550. I'm gonna take out a loan and quintuple it on Wednesday afternoon. Julio and CISO, 2 shots on target.
A lot of
plus
units.
550.
Okay.
Bring it to the bank.
Okay, fair enough. Tyler Terrence, Overtrain. No, not Overtrain. Ivan Toney's best bet. What do you got for us?
I feel like I need to come up with a name for my parlays.
It's good. You gotta
maybe Mitch can help me workshop that.
Branding is important.
Branding behind it. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Right. No, yeah, I do branding. All right, so we're gonna go Premier League, and I'm gonna go with a draw between Arsenal and Fulham.
Boo.
I'm going to go with a draw between Forest and United.
Yuck.
And I'm going to go with a win for Newcastle at home against Brentford plus 25.04. And you know what? Just for shits and giggles, because I have a free $5 bet right now, and I'm just gonna throw that on there and just see what happens. 5 to win 125.
Easy peasy.
Yep.
Casual 125 banger. Plus 2,000 something banger is what I should call that. Okay. All right. Couple draws and a Newcastle win. All right. Let's head to GOAWs, everyone's favorite segment, especially Mikey, now that he knows what it means. We will, in fact, Mikey, since you love the name so much, why don't you start us out?
Yeah, so I did a lot of bookmarking this weekend. Let me find out which ones I like the most. We have Harry Redknapp calling Thomas Tuchel a German spy. Does that qualify?
I think he might have thrown up a one-arm salute in
he
that.
He did that as well.
Yeah,
Shut
that
up.
was he did. He was joking, clearly joking, but
you can't do that.
Yeah, that's like the one thing that you're not clearly joking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a tough.
When and where was this? I need to
look.
I'm looking right at it.
It happened. It happened. I don't know what the context was, but I saw him getting buried
just
on
typing
social
in
media.
Harry Redknapp German
No, I just
spy
sent it
on
in
Google.
the group chat. Okay, so there's that one. I won't go with that one, but it definitely qualified. These are all things reminder that I bookmark when I'm drunk and find funny. Okay, so the Norwich City FC fans. Does anybody else have this on the list?
Nope.
Fan proposed at halftime. Great story. The club tweeted it out, and in the background, the fans are just chanting, "You don't know what you're doing," for the entire duration of the proposal. It's a great watch. They're all just pretending it's not happening. The announcer powers through. It's great. But they're my GOAWs this week.
It's good. You've stumbled across my system as well, and anytime I see something that looks interesting, I just bookmark it or throw it down in my notes, and end up with like a big long list like I do today. All right, Tyler, why don't you go next?
So I might steal a little bit of your thunder with the Peter Vermes, but I'm going to stay away from that. I'll let you give him some flowers.
All
right. Bad side of the GOAWs, I'm going to go with the San Diego LAFC bullshit. For those of you who have not seen it, basically just a huge fight broke out after the San Diego and LAFC game. I forget which fan it was on which side. It doesn't really matter, but somebody literally just sucker punched a dude who was not looking and absolutely knocked him the fuck out for the count. I mean, just straight up dropped him. And then some of the security and the police force surrounding that incident was like despicable. Like literally just not doing anything. But that's all to say that like I was thinking about saying like I love the passion and I love the fact that MLS has gotten to this point, but like it's too much. It's too much.
There were fights in the stands as well.
Yeah, it's just like just figure it out.
I guess we're mainstream sport now. You know?
I guess.
Yay.
Yeah, that's the bad one. And then shout out to Atlanta in general for their soccer culture is incredible. Like anytime I go there, and I've only been there like 3 or 4 times since MLS season pass has started. It could be a Wednesday NYC game. It could be a weekend game. There's always at least 30 to 40,000 there. And you could say, sure, yeah, well, they have a football stadium. Go check out what Soldier Field looks like every weekend, and then tell me that this happens everywhere, and in a major metropolitan area as well. So anyway, shout out to Atlanta because the atmosphere there is top, and there's a reason why the World Cup is coming to that city, and it's going to be sick.
And it's not just because of Arthur Blank's money.
No,
they have a very good fan culture, and I always try and slip that in anytime I go get on my petty horse and get on Falcons FC. The fan base is awesome. I got no problem with them. I got no problem with the players themselves. It's just the front office. Anyway, so shout out to them, and I'm glad you gave them good shouts there. Mitch, what do you got for us?
I'll second. I'll co-sign Tyler's Atlanta shout. They do have a great culture, a great stadium, great team. I don't know why you still have a grudge with them, but whatever. I got a good one and a bad one. Good one is Uzbekistan, who will, barring some miracle in Liechtenstein, Uzbekistan will become the first ever double landlocked nation to qualify for the World Cup. That's awesome. As somebody who loves geography, loves looking at a map, haven't been tested, that is a really, really fun trivia bit. So that's my positive one. And my negative one is it has to be We Are Legacy FC, Boss Nation FC, Coming Soon FC, whatever the name of this football team is. The Boston-based NWSL expansion franchise, which originally was named Boss Nation FC, received a ton of backlash for that, and then now has rebranded to what is now Boston Legacy Football Club. But the second brand has been just almost a worse dumpster fire than the first one. Their Instagram handle is still Boss Nation FC. Their name on Instagram is Coming Soon FC. And this is a week after the so-called second unveiling of the name. The club doesn't have a crest. It doesn't have, we haven't seen kits designed. And I'm to believe that they consulted, market professionals and this and that. I want to support this team as a through and through Boston sports fan, as a American soccer fan, and as somebody that worked for the Boston Breakers back in college, like before they went under. That was not my fault. I want to support this team, but you guys are making it really hard right off the bat. So I'm hoping they can turn it around, but it hasn't looked good so far. So guys, if you need some help in building an online soccer community, I know a thing or two. I know some people that know a thing or two about that. Give me a call.
You only get a first one chance to make a third impression. So maybe next time we'll get it. You know what's so weird about that is that NWSL, just by and large, has been so good about the promotion and the marketing and sort of getting their logos and their jerseys. Like they've been so good about that. So it's definitely strange that
I think the kits, I mean, the NWSL, not one miss in their kit collection that launched this past off season and now into this season. I have no worries about the kits. I am worried about the color scheme though. It's a kind of a vibrant green along with a pink and black, and I can't point to any other team in any other sport that has that color scheme and makes it work. Again, we don't have a crest or a logo or anything. I'm worried about the imagery that this team is going to put forward. I'm hopeful, but I'm worried.
Interesting. Yeah, I can. There's been a lot of cool pink team. Like obviously Forward Madison is the first one that comes to mind for me. But they're pink and blue. I've not.
Yeah,
I can't think of any pink and green. Although I understand why a Boston team would go that route. Listen, maybe unique. It'll be a good unique.
Yep. Maybe.
Let's look on the bright side. All right, good shouts. I've got a whole list, kind of like Mikey, but I'm going to knock some of these off. Quick shouts for Rio Kakamora, who you might remember as more of like an Instagram brand than a soccer club. I think they're from, I don't know, some Micronesian island somewhere. They put out a statement on their Instagram basically saying they don't know who coached their U18 team this past weekend. Like, they're just like, yeah, I don't know who that was. We don't know who that was. Like, what? Well, what? I don't even, they didn't say. So I'm assuming no. But yeah, I don't know. Very strange situation. Also similar, Marshall Islands. I think they're going to try and play their first national team game, and they're crowdsourcing to try and get the money, raise the money to get the team there. That one I love, the Real Kakamora. That's just craziness. Erling Haaland. So not only did he get the ankle injury, but he also got accused of assaulting a Manchester City mascot. So apparently in October, we're talking a mascot as the big, I don't even know what the Man City's mascot
legally,
is.
You can't assault them. It's
right. It's against the law to actually say you've been assaulted. But he hit the mascot in the back of the head or something on their big furry blue head. And this mascot, who is a female employee, is now, it sounds like a cash grab, if we're being honest. And in which case, listen, cash grab on a cash grab or a oil rich club, I guess, all's fair in love in soccer in that one. And then quickly, Rafinha, who was going to be, up until a few hours ago, Rafinha was going to be my GOA because of the sort of stupidity of the situation he allowed himself to get into. Obviously, he plays for Brazil. He's having an incredible season in Europe at the moment. So Brazil and Argentina played this week in, I believe it was World Cup qualifying. And a day or two before the game, he did an interview with Romario. You know, everybody remembers Romario from Brazil days. So basically, him and Romario were going back and forth. Rafinha said, "We will beat Argentina, no doubt, on and off the pitch if we have to." Romario said, "Are you going to score a goal?" Rafinha replied, "Yes, I'll go with everything." And Romario said, "Fuck them?" ? And Rafinha said, "Fuck them." So basically, he sort of allowed himself to make these comments that obviously were going to be incredibly inflammatory for Argentina. Not like they need any extra motivation. But then Argentina just came out and beat the doors off of Brazil. I think it was 4-1. Brazil's only goal was a huge mistake by Romero, just basically handed the ball. I think it was to Cunha who scored a goal. And Rafinha, the crowd was giving it to him, saying sub Rafinha on. By the way, he played the whole 90 minutes. He just basically did absolutely dick the whole game. He caught it from all ends. The players were going after him. It was just a bad week to be Rafinha. So he was going to be the go up until this morning when the news broke about Peter Vermes getting the sack. Do you have to sack himself, by the way? Do you think he had to call himself? Man, this is tough conversation to have. But you're gone. So he is gone after 16 years as coach, a little bit longer than that as sporting director. And, this is obviously one of those situations where, if you live long enough to become from hero to GOAT, you get that, Mitch? It's one of those situations where he hung on too long, and obviously people are now going to remember that. But my point, and what I wanted to point out, is that he was an incredible coach / sporting director at the top of the tier for MLS for a long, long time. He won MLS Cup in 2013, I think it was. He won US Open Cup 3 times, I believe. Like, they were at or near the top of their conference, like, year after year after year, which is a very hard thing to do in a league like MLS, where you can just buy a couple players and you're suddenly shooting up the table. And he did it with kind of a low budget. So I think that we do need to remember that Peter Vermes was a really, really good coach / sporting director, just / sort of figurehead for Sporting KC. And he actually came on when they were the Kansas City Wiz, by the way. He's been there that long. So shout out to him. He had an incredible run with them. Obviously, the last few years, whether his message got stale or the new generation doesn't vibe with him or what, I have no idea. But let's remember, along with the last few years, remember that he was an incredible coach, an incredible sporting director for many, many years, and a good ambassador for both the league and the team. So shout out to Peter Vermes for a great run. And there we go. Everybody, Mitch, Mikey, Tyler, you guys are the best. Everybody in the Discord chat, love you long time. And we will see you guys bigger, better, faster, stronger next week.
Bigger, better, faster, and stronger.